Video games can fall under many genres, but one that has seen great popularity is that of horror games, many of which are filled with jump scares and other similar scaring techniques. These games, although inherently scary, are often found highly enjoyable by those looking for a frightening experience. One game, however, discovered and popularized in 2015 by a bizarre YouTube channel named Obscure Horror Corner, is far more sinister. Originally found on the deep web, Sad Satan is undoubtedly one of the most unnerving and abnormal games ever created, and has continuously terrified all those that make the decision to play it. It all started on YouTube, on a small channel showcasing horror games. Obscure Horror Corner, the YouTube channel that originally displayed Sad Satan to the internet, and is quite curious itself, supposedly found out about the game through an anonymous message from a subscriber. This is to be expected, as the channel, before having been abandoned entirely, revolved around testing out small horror games recommended by their subscribers. It is often theorized that the owner of this channel, Jamie, is indeed the creator of the original Sad Satan, but he maintains that he accessed the game through Tor, a tool used for searching the deep web. Although the name deep web has been associated with illegal and highly disturbing material such as gore, this stigma is not actually entirely true. The deep web is simply any and all information on the World Wide Web that is not indexed by your standard search engines. This means to say that all password-protected databases and sites are categorized under the deep web, whether actually illegal or not. Nevertheless, the fact that Sad Satan could only be accessed originally through the deep web only adds to the massively chilling sentiment that it radiates. Having covered the game's believed origin, one can only ask, what is it about this game that is so shocking that it has warranted large communities of people to study it? To answer that, one must dive into Obscure Horror Corner's 5-part YouTube series, and although many versions of Sad Satan exists as of current, it is here that unedited footage of the original game can be viewed. The first episode begins in a dark hallway, in which the only sound that can be heard is footsteps, presumed to be from the player. The video continues on with the player walking down to the end of the hallway, until a strange audio clip begins to linger in the distance. The player then turns around and walks back down the hallway, with these sounds slowly growing in volume as he does so. Although the game is first composed of neat colors, it is at about halfway through the video when, after a short period of darkness, the scenery changes to strictly black and white. The rest of episode 1 consists of more walking through darkened hallways, while strange audio clips haunt the player as they slowly walk along. It all concludes with one last audio clip that plays on repeat at a significantly faster pace than the others. The rest of the Sad Satan series follows a similar formula to the first episode, with long sections of walking through hallways in either black and white or mundane and pixelated colors. The intense and often perplexing audio clips, coupled with occasional appearances from a seemingly abused or injured child, follow the player as they continue. At surface value, still, many may see Sad Satan as a simple and poorly made indie horror game, even with its disturbing sounds and odd gameplay. What lies within the game, and is featured throughout Obscure Horror Corner's series on it, however, is what has truly drawn the attention of many online horror and conspiracy theorists. As can be seen within episodes 1 through 5 of the Sad Satan series on YouTube, at certain moments throughout the duration of the game, images will suddenly appear on the screen in a blunt and often jolting fashion. It is these ominous and often disturbing images that start to unravel the meaning behind the game, and for what reason it was created. The first image, strangely, is of Franz Joseph, the 9th Prince of Thurn and Taxis, stood atop a staircase lined with antlers. These antlers, presumed to have all been collected by Franz himself, as he was an avid hunter, give this image an unsettling note which often scares players of the game upon first encountering it. As well, it subtly portrays the idea of abuse, in this case regarding animals, that becomes a common theme throughout both the rest of the game as well as the remaining and far more disturbing images. Now, many of the images included in Obscure Horror Corner's original copy of Sad Satan cannot be discussed or shown as they are highly gory or but there are other disconcerting images that can be shown without being entirely illegal. The second and most widely discussed image is a photograph taken of Jimmy Savile, a late entertainer who sexually abused many children, and Margaret Thatcher, the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. This image, although taken prior to Savile's unveiling as a despicable human, was hidden from the media for many years before being released to the public, along with information detailing Thatcher's relationship with Savile. It was reported that many personal letters had been exchanged between the two, and although they weren't publicly very close, it seems that they knew each other quite well. As this could have stained Thatcher's reputation considering the seriousness of Savile's abusive actions, the image, along with much of her interactions with him, were suppressed. Another image that blends with the theme of child abuse and is this photo appearing in Part 4 of the Sad Satan series of Rolf Harris, an Australian entertainer. He is pictured surrounded by children in this photo prior to being convicted of sexually assaulting 4 underage girls and being sentenced to over 5 years in prison. Arguably, the most sinister photo out of these many images of random people throughout Sad Satan, though, is the notorious Tsutomu Miyazaki otaku killer mugshot, which is also featured in Sad Satan Part 4. Tsutomu is possibly one of the most famously despicable humans to have existed in recent memory, having murdered 4 young Japanese girls before being caught and executed by hanging in 2008. Not only did he murder these girls, and other unspeakable acts. The length of his crimes are too graphic to describe, but the appearance of his photo within Sad Satan only makes sense considering the ongoing theme of child abuse and injustice towards minors. This image of Tsutomu Miyazaki, without any knowledge of his crimes, is one of the less chilling of Sad Satan's images, especially when considering one such as the Roger Ballen Shadow Chamber picture. But the knowledge of Miyazaki's past renders this mugshot one of the most intricately atrocious by far. Sad Satan, the original, is exceedingly difficult to obtain. Obscure Horror Corner, after the first part in his series had been uploaded, provided a link to the game in its original form, but any who chose to download the game for themselves found this .onion link to be false. When questioned about it, the owner of the channel, Jamie, explained that due to the amount of gore and throughout the game, he did not want to knowingly spread the link for it to the internet. It was on this same day, though, that a user on 4chan uploaded a clear web link to the original Sad Satan on the website's X board. The user claimed to have been the person that sent in Sad Satan to the OHC YouTube channel in the first place, and as such, many who found the post downloaded the game for themselves. As Jamie had stated, this version was saturated with illegal images, but the majority of people who downloaded this Sad Satan were subjected to their computers slowing down, crashing, or even entirely breaking. Thankfully for those who wished to play the game, a Reddit user downloaded this version for themselves, carefully removed the illicit images, and re-uploaded it for those who desired. The version that many YouTubers and popular figures have played, however, is generally the version with the original gore, forcing them to censor the screen at sudden moments throughout their videos. It is still unknown who the original creator of Sad Satan is, nor their reasoning for creating such a perplexing and to most disturbing horror game. Many suspect that Jamie, the owner of OHC, is the maker of the game and simply did so for internet attention, but others believe that some anonymous and perhaps abused as a child individual is behind it. No definitive proof exists thus far as to who may have created it, but what is certain is that Sad Satan remains as one of the most interesting deep web mysteries in recent years. Its disturbing images, bizarre backstory, and unsettling themes only beg the question, for what reason did it ever exist?